to you, all in the room. I see Alan there. Hello, Geoff, as well. How you doing, buddy?
Having a wonderful time, mate. How about yourself? It's
Oh, of course you're
Thursday.
having a wonderful time.
1 o'clock
Yeah.
is about an hour and a half away.
Yes, it is. What's an hour and a half away?
1 o'clock.
1 o'clock is an hour and a half away. Couldn't have a better time of day.
Yes, you
Now,
could. An hour and a half time.
Right then, we are live on YouTube as well. I can see that, and this is the precursor for the US show, which starts in about half an hour. Got some things to deal with when Shukri comes in there. Now, remind me, I've got something to ask Shukri. Now, is Shukri in? I can see Swee is in. How you doing, buddy? See Alan's there. You and I are in. I don't see Shukri. Remind me, I must ask Shukri about something, and this could be something for everybody as well, that we can all deal with. The mind will boggle at this stage. Now, since we've been off air, we have seen the pound, and the pound has moved somewhat. We may not get to the moon with this particular question I've got to ask Shukri, but we might get to Wales. I mean, I'm in England, so Wales is just down the road, but still
there's a bit of difference.
Yeah. So let's just talk about the euro for a second. Now, the euro, I want to add to a short. We may well get a trade on in the show. I want to add to my positions. I'm in at the daily pivot, by nowhere near enough. So I want to try and get a bigger trade on, and I want to try and get it on around about this weekly pivot. You can see how that weekly pivot will actually coincide with the trend line. We'll pull up a fib as well and see what that is suggesting from the highest point of the trend to the lowest. And that is also giving me the weekly pivot. So 61.8% retracement is where I want my order. So we will do that during the US show, but that's what I'm looking at. Short on the euro dollar. And let's have a look at the pound. Look at the pound, mate. Had a bit of a struggle since we announced the Bank of England rates left on hold. Nothing huge. I mean, when we kind of look at it, was it down? I suppose 87 pips in a couple of hours actually is a pretty decent move, to be fair. And I would suspect we'll probably be going low with the pound. Pound looks pretty good for a setup on the short side on some of these longer term time frames as well. Now I'm just going to have a look.
We spoke about this in the earlier show, and would it be worth adding to your position? And I can't remember who asked. I think it was either Sino or Alan who asked the question.
Yeah.
If it goes short with the breakout trade, should we add to the position?
Oh,
or
yeah.
Should we trade it short on a slingshot perspective? Well, the slingshot setup actually did trigger, and my answer was, as long as you've got a setup, you've got a setup. Trade the setup.
Yeah.
But don't go overboard with aggregating your risk. And
yes,
that to me is always going to be the correct thing to say. But in this circumstance, it's the wrong thing to say. But that's based on news, you know. This is not going to happen every single time, and that's what we're trying to do as traders. We're trying to get something that is consistent, not that happens every once in a while. So I'll stand by what I said. Put it that way.
Yeah. I think that's wise, mate. So the way, you know, this 1.29 24 looks like the right area to try and look for the short. It may not get there. It might get to that's a fairly strong horizontal level in regards to the hourly chart, which is just a little bit lower down here. There's a little level down there, which might be all that the pound will have to offer. But it'd be fantastic if it just tipped up, went up a little bit further, and then we can look for shorts along the 129.24 area for a short. But
it's a pretty strong break.
Yeah, it is, mate. And you know, there's no doubt in my mind that the pound goes lower from here. Whether we go really through the floor doesn't need to carry too much relevance, because realistically, the stops will be, they're well out of the way. I mean, you're looking at a potential 2.5 to 1 to the lower end before worrying about taking profit. So I may well take the pound. I think considering we've had the news out now from the pound, we've had news out last week from the euro as well. So both of them look pretty weak. But let's just check the pound against the euro, just so we can make a judgment call on whether we want to go short on the euro or short on the pound. And we see the euro picking up against the pound. Let's just see if it's through. Yeah, it looks like it might well be. Let's just cover all lines here as well. May not be. It may not be through. So for that reason, I may well...
What's that chart? What are you looking at?
This is the euro pound.
On what time frame?
This is on the... Now it's on the 4 hour. I was on the 1 hour.
Oh,
now it's
okay.
Yeah.
That makes more sense, yeah.
But let's have a look. Let's have a look at the euro pound on some other time frames as well. Yeah, it's managed to find a little bit of a shelf down here, and it's bounced. I don't love it. I really don't like that that kind of price action at all. You're really trading a still what would be quite an emotive move without anything which would carry that much emotion, I suppose. I do prefer the dollar versus the pound, but it's just a question of whether we go a pound dollar short or whether we go euro dollar short. Hey SF, how you doing, buddy? Yeah, just to kind of reiterate for you, mate, if you've only just got in the room, we're looking for, or I'm looking for the pound short against the dollar and also the euro short against the dollar as well. So I would take the euro at the weekly pivot. That's my idea, is to try and go short at the weekly pivot, 118.30. Yeah, what's that? 118.38 by the looks of things. And I'm looking at the pound for a short against the dollar around about 129.26.
Mate, sounds like you're going to have to sell a bit of property if the dollar doesn't rally.
You're
pretty keen on it, eh?
You're absolutely right. I'm stacking in. I mean, I am short on Bitcoin already, and I am short on the euro already. But I think my issue with my Bitcoin trade, my euro trade. I mean, to be honest, I haven't quite got as much as I want on the Bitcoin trade. I want a bit more on, really. I'm only half in with my allocated exposure, so I'd quite like to get another full half position on Bitcoin if I could. For a short, but the euro I haven't got anywhere near enough on. I've got plenty of room to kind of add to the position, so I really do want to get some more money on the euro.
No, I don't disagree with you for 1 second, but we've probably got different reasons as to why we're so bearish the euro and bullish the dollar. What's your reason?
My reasons actually, well, so. My reason still stems from last week. This is the start of my reasoning against the euro. The pound, everybody knows why we should be short the pound. It's just a dog, isn't it? It's just it's got a terrible government who want to break international law, and it is inevitably cheap. My problem with the pound is that if reports are correct, hedge funds are not in agreement with the way I'm thinking. So I'm going to be trading the long dollar against the pound, and I still think the pound could be a little bit bumpy, even though it's the most obvious, and maybe that's always the problem as well. When things are obvious, it's one of those, isn't it? It's a weird thing with trading. If it walks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, it's probably a lion when it comes down to trading. So you can't really kind of just take things on a kind of zero-sum game in many respects. So I would prefer to kind of look at maybe something which is more of a curveball, which would be the euro. And my thesis on this, as I said before, comes from last week. And it comes from last week because I've still got this very, very interesting price action on this bar here. And this was the ECB announcement. And I love the way it moved up and then just battered its way down. It was just a complete throwdown to the price action. Now, if I consider what drives markets and what drives currencies most specifically, it is 70% driven by what the central bank of each region is going to do. Because if the central bank raises interest rates, then obviously we're going to be looking to go long on that particular currency, and if they drop interest rates, we're looking to
You
go
certainly
short.
would at the moment. There's no question there.
Yeah,
If a central bank come out and said, "Look, we're going to put interest rates up, even 0.1%," everyone would be jumping on it.
Oh yeah, we'd have some of that. But that particular bar was created after the central bank. Now that means that every other bar in this area is leading towards, the prior bars are leading towards this, but this to me is the information bar. In this whole area, this is the bar of the information. So if that bar is the one that I'm looking for information, and it looks like that, that is a negative signal. We all know that. That's one of the first things we learn, that the if you like, the high test bar or the hat or the shooting star or whatever you want to call it. But it is a signaling bar telling me that price at the top end is going to struggle until we get something else fundamentally that can drive prices beyond here and potentially beyond here. Now, since then, we've had the Fed. And also on top of that, I think there's been an overreaction in the way that people have been buying up everything else against the dollar. I think the sell-off in the dollar is an overreaction. Now we can bring back in the charts again and look at what the monthly and weekly and everything else are telling us, but I don't think we need to do that. So I think I can assume that everybody knows what the monthly chart is on the euro dollar, and everybody knows what the monthly chart is saying on the dollar index as well.
And we have been showcasing them for quite some time, so they should.
Yeah, we know what that price action is, right? We don't need to go over that again, and we know that there's this head and shoulders pattern here, an inverted head and shoulders on the dollar, and we know we've got the neckline. Three little Indians, yeah, the three little Indians, which will be as valid. I laugh because I'm being corrected, but yeah, absolutely. So three little Indians, I suppose the point is that it doesn't really matter on the name. It just matters what we're all seeing, which is potentially this area is giving us a distribution pattern. That's what that area is. And it's distributing, money from the buy side to the sell side. Whether it breaks down significantly, nobody knows. But I do like the pattern. So I like the pattern. I like this, the bar that I've illustrated here, and I like the fact that bar happened on the ECB press conference. And I love the fact that we haven't broken either side really when it comes down to what's happened with the dollar. So that's my reasoning, mate. And that is why I am long at the minute on all things to do with the dollar. So I want some euro. The Bitcoin hasn't quite broken down yet, but it's just about, I'm just about in the money with Bitcoin at the minute.
Nice. You know, on Sunday I did my analysis, as I now do these days. And euro dollar, euro Swissy, euro yen, and Swissy yen were at the top of my list. Top of my list was Swissy yen, because they were absolutely all the same. It was the same trade, no matter what.
Right.
And same chart pattern. And the candle you've isolated there is exactly the same candle as it was on all four of those.
Right.
And the very best of them was Swissy yen, and that was my trade for the week. And if you now go to the Swissy yen chart on the daily, you'll notice that it's exactly the same with a better bar, because it had a bit more junk on it, a bit more body on it.
We're talking about this bar here, right?
Yep, that bar there.
Yeah.
And the reason it was better is it had more body on it, and that's the only perceivable difference, frankly.
Yeah.
But there was also and as bullish you were on the dollar, I was pretty bullish on the yen.
Yeah.
And I've got no real, well, I do. That's not true. I knew there was a new prime minister.
Yep.
I always am on the side, since COVID even started, that we really should be in a risk off situation. And as we fluctuate from risk on, risk off, risk on, and as we have, and as we are continuing to do, I thought it was the turn of risk off, frankly.
Yeah.
So that combined with the beautiful double top, and now you could even say it's a head and shoulders if you wanted to, but all of those things combined, and that candle was just the proof in the pudding that I needed. So
Yeah. I really like it, mate. So you're short on this one.
Yep.
Yeah, you're short on that, which I really like. So, yeah, well, I would concur. I haven't done anywhere near enough research on the yen, which I will do over the next couple of days, over the weekend, and see if I've possibly missed an opportunity by focusing all my attentions to the dollar. But it certainly would suggest that your analysis is right, because when you look at the dollar yen, then the dollar yen has weakened. So you've certainly picked the right one. Yeah.
And euro yen, we're in that too.
And euro yen to the downside. So you have had a pretty good run at. Oh yeah, love it, mate. Yeah, really like it. You're in a pretty good run of it, aren't you, right now?
Well, they were all the same, mate. It was just the same trade.
Yeah.
I think the worst part about that is exactly that. They were all the same. So you had to kind of restrict yourself, not instead of putting truckloads on every single one of them. You had to aggregate your risk. So nice that they appeared so bright and shiny, and that's the key. If it's bright and shiny, then that's when you trade. If it's not, if you're full of noise and you just can't make up your mind, and that's what we were like at last week. I thought it was a very tough week to trade last week, but this week's been pretty clear, and that's the beautiful part of it. If you wait, the market eventually screams at you rather than just whispers. So
I totally agree. I mean, it was interesting. Somebody was commenting actually earlier about how quiet it's been for trading, and actually we can't really think of it in that regard, because it's just well, I suppose you obviously can, but it's one of those things that you just have to say, well, there's nothing on offer, so I can't force my way.
You have to accept it.
Yeah, you exactly that, mate. You just have to accept what's on offer, and you can't force your way into a market which is giving you nothing. Just doesn't really work.
And I think we even commented during the week that it's sometimes really difficult for us to do that, because you've got people listening to you and they want to trade and they want to be in the market and all the rest of that. So it's very hard to sit on your hands all the time in a show like this, because you guys want to see trades, obviously. If there are no trades there, there are no trades there, and that's how we survive. If absolutely. If you're trading everything that moves, you're going to die. You really are. You're going to kill.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And we need to learn the lesson from this. If we wait, then we make really good money. If we trade everything, then we end up just losing on it. That's brilliant, Swee. That's really good. I mean, that is half the battle is refusing trades. Sometimes you make much more money by keeping your hand in your pocket than kind of getting in. And it's difficult. I mean, I appreciate it's difficult when you are new to the market. It's really difficult to be confident enough to say, this one I'm trading, and no matter what happens, I'm holding. This one I'm not going to trade because it doesn't meet my parameters. This one's a missed opportunity, so I'm going to leave it. Whatever it is, it's really difficult, because when you're new, your mind tells you that there's not going to be another opportunity there, and you feel really gutted that you've missed one, which I still get, to be fair. I'm still annoyed with myself if I miss a setup, and a lot of that is because I do quite a lot of work before I make a decision.
Doesn't worry me at all.
On the whole, that's the case anyway. Depending on what sort of market we have, it can take a while to get the research done. But but you know, when you accept that there will be another opportunity, and you know, you're not letting yourself down by missing that particular trade, and there will be plenty of setups that you do, you know, are really good setups that you do really like, and that's what you're really talking about, isn't it, Geoff?
That's exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah,
they're screaming at you. The market should scream at you, really. And if you take those trades, it doesn't mean that you won't look at a trade and go, I think this is going that way. I've got no setup, so I'll ignore it. And it goes the way you think and you get frustrated. It doesn't mean that, but it just means that if we wait, then the profits, the earnings to risk ratio that you effectively make, it just jumps. It just jumps to a big just a big amount. So I can learn just by brilliant. I don't. I've got a hold over the last few weeks. Yeah, absolutely, mate. It is. It is. Just chill out and wait. Because look at this. I mean, this euro is something that I'd oh, nice. Do you know what? That's quite interesting. Have you got any statements on your wall, Geoff? I've always sort of thought of doing it, but I don't know where to put them. And
yeah. Look, I've got a. My wife presented me with a. Well, it's like a framed picture thing that sits on my desk, and I'm looking at it right now as we speak.
Yeah,
and it's got nothing to do with trading.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, just a picture of Batman and Robin.
It's called Dream. I see my dreams as if I already hold them in my hand. I dare to dream big, for it is me who creates my world. That is what sits on my desk.
That's nice. I like that. And I know some people have screensavers, don't they? This is quite a nice thing that they've got screensavers that every time that their computer is sleeping, the screensaver comes up and there'll be different quotes. So if they hear a quote, they put it in as a screensaver, and then those quotes come in.
Do you know what? You can't imagine how powerful that is.
Yeah.
Because, and you know, I did a brief thing with neuro-linguistic programming.
Yeah.
But I'm no expert, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And that thing that I just read that sits on my desk that my wife gave me is very much a part of that. And if you think you're going to fail, you're absolutely right.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're spot on. You're absolutely on the money. You're going to fail.
Yeah.
But if you put that around the other way, then you've got every chance of being, and it doesn't matter what sphere you're even thinking about it. You're talking about trading, you're talking about living, you're talking about playing football or whatever. It doesn't matter. If you've got a positive mindset, you're a long way ahead than the reverse of that.
Yeah, and I think the other thing on that as well is that there are there is a way to trade which is self-sabotaging, because everything that you try and create is exactly what you will lose. So if for example I want to trade this euro dollar and I'm so keen to trade this one short that I get in early, what I end up doing is sabotaging, even though I know I should be getting up here. What I end up doing is sabotaging the very thing that I'm trying to create, which is a good price point. You know, I'm trying to create a really good price point, and so what happens is I see this start to kind of like build in some price action. Price action's falling down, and then it's starting to come back up again, and then it creates these bars over here. So I see my inverted head and shoulders, and I want to go short, so I'm going to trade it along here, which actually doesn't look that bad, but I trade it along here, and what I'm trying to create is decent profit by trading it here. But as price comes up there, all of a sudden I've put myself in a psychological hardship because I didn't wait for the extra value. So what I was trying to create was a trade with better timing, but my work had already suggested that I should be trading up there. And this is why the work needs to be done away from the charts. And this is why emotion cannot all of a sudden start coming into play just because the market starts to turn here. If the price doesn't come up here, yes, I lose that profit. But time and time again, if I do this times 5, 3 out of the 5, it will go up there. So I've lost 3 times by entering here and then price coming up here.
And put your head in a very, very bad position.
And put your head in a very bad position. Exactly that. So, so you know that there are times where you sabotage your own work by the psychology of trying to enter a market to try and create the very thing you lose the very thing that you're trying to create by entering on a effectively on an emotive reason, or entering on an emotive trade, because I really want the euro dollar short, but I'm not going to trade it here. I'm going to trade it here. That's what I've decided. I've decided I'm going to trade it here, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. So I don't know if there's a post that comes out like that. But you imagine if I trade. The other thing is, if I break my rule here after seeing just a little bit of weakness here, if I break my rule and trade it here, and price does go up not only to this point but beyond, and it closes up there, I've lost a whole bunch there. Or I've not been able to take that much risk, but to get to that point, I've not been able to load in, because the cost of, let's say, $100 from this point to this point, if it's 50 pips, then I can only put on $2 a pip. Whereas if from this point to this point it's 10 pips, then obviously I can put $10 a pip on. So again, I will sabotage myself by getting in here at a worse price, even though I might lose out on what could be $50 down there. By the time I've got down to this point, if I've entered there on $10, will be exponentially more than taking those really weak trades. So you can't allow your head to self-sabotage and sabotage your trading. And look, the Bitcoin is really case in point for me. I am quite frustrated on the fact that I haven't been able to do what I want with Bitcoin, which is get in higher. This is what's going on with Bitcoin, and I just have to accept this. Now, you think that this should be quite a happy position for me, but it's a little bit frustrating, because I've got my biggest position here. But what I wanted was to whack in another half, another 100 pips above this point. Now, if it goes down here, yes, I'm going to make money, but I'm not going to make the money that I would have liked if it had come that little bit further and then gone down. But I will sabotage myself if all of a sudden I decide, okay, the market's, because it still could come up. I can't say that I'm right just yet. If I decide now the market's not going to go to my particular price point, which I still think there's always a chance that it comes up there. If it's not going to go there, so I load in my positions here, then I've sabotaged my whole trade by grouping in all here, and market comes up and I've got nothing left in the tank to get in at this point, to kind of aggregate my position well, or even worse, it goes up to that point. And I don't even survive up to there, because I've put on so much in this area. I've got to get stopped out here to risk my 1 or 2% of my account. So yeah, early entries can be an absolute killer. As frustrating as they are, as I say, I'll be a shade, not massively, but I will be a little bit frustrated if if Bitcoin decides to collapse here, because I haven't got my full position on. If it gets down to there and I've got to kind of close out at that particular point, my frustration will be that I didn't get the full position on. But that's not what the market gave me. So what am I going to do? Just got to get over myself and go and find something else and hope that that something else provides me the position that I need to get into. So
and it will.
And it will, of course it will. I particularly like this one though, so I might load in here.
Properties for sale next week.
Yeah, exactly. So that's where we are. So what time is it? Oh gosh, we better get moving. Right, we got to get moving onto the US show. Now we're going to be covering. I'm a bit gutted Shukri's not here. Where is he? Oh, he is here. Oh, amazing. All right, Shukri, I've got a question for you in a little while, buddy. It's for everybody in the room, and it's to do with getting some free money from Coinbase. A friend of mine has just texted me and said, "Oh, do this, man. I've just done this." And I said to him that I only checked with my crypto dude.
You're not taking it from my farm, are you? My crypto farm.
No, not doing anything like that, mate. So we'll be talking to just a quick question for you, Shukri. We're going to be talking about the correlation and the connection between stocks and currencies as well. I'll be just having a quick cover on that, and then you'll be covering. We'll be talking about the trades that we're in as well. Anything else from you, Geoff?
Yeah, I want to know if you guys learned anything about the key levels last night with
We did.
with the Big O, and I also have a little bit of news on dollar yen.
Okay, fantastic. All right. Well, everybody else, we will see you on the other side. We'll see you Monday, maybe in the UK show, starting at 5 to 8. If not, we'll see you at 1:30 in the US show. If you'd like to join us on the US show, you just have to go to contact at Actions to Wealth and get them to sign you up. Also, could you maybe, if you like this this little segment that we do and you like the UK shows, do you mind maybe just hitting the like button for us as well? I'm sure that might help us with we're getting some extra viewers, which we
does that help?
Wanna...
Does it? Okay.
I think so, mate. I don't know. I haven't got.
Oh, hang on. I like it. There, done.
Oh yeah, well done.
That's you and me now too.
Nice
Awesome.
one, nice one. All right. Oh, we got 3 now. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Really appreciate it. I presume it would help. I don't know, but we need to push ourselves up in the rankings because I see some pretty awful people on YouTube educating, and I just think that we're better. I just think that we give as much as we possibly can, and we will continue to do so. And it'd be great to maybe save.
Well, there's no blindfolds, is there? It's all out there. If you don't like it, you don't look. Simple as that.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Appreciate the likes. Thanks, guys. Really, really appreciate that. All right, we're going to push off now. We're going to start with a tune, and then we're going to get straight into a little bit of analysis, and then we're talking to Shukri and talking about some correlations. Then maybe it'll be over to you, and then we'll talk about some correlations, mate.
Happy days. See you in a bit.
All right. See you soon, guys. See you everybody else on YouTube land. We'll see you next week.